Welcome to episode 25 of the 24-Hour Hustle Show, and today we got special guest, founder of Philanthropy LLC, Chalis Henderson. Welcome to the 24-Hour Hustle Show. I'm your host, Anthony Freeze, and this is the show where we get a chance to sit down with accomplished guests. And today we're sitting down with Chalis Henderson. And I've seen a lot of the work that you've been doing on social media, a lot of the people that we've been able to connect with on the show, you've also been able to work with as well. And you actually got nominated to be on the show. So, people out there that you've been, serving the community, they recognize your work and they want to, put you on this platform because they see what you're doing. And I've also been able to see what you do as well. So I'm glad to be able to have you on the show, to be able to tell your story, talk about your work, and connect with some more lives. So welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Yeah, I'm excited to be here.
I'm excited too. I'm always excited for these, especially with someone of your caliber doing the things that you're doing. I'm definitely excited to get this. Definitely excited to get this going. So for people who don't know who you are, give us your background and what it is that you do.
Sure. So, hi everyone. I am Chalis Henderson. I am originally from Warrenton, North Carolina. Shout out to the county. Warrenton is a very small town, rural community in North Carolina, but greatness really comes from Warren County.
Okay.
And so I'm excited and proud to be from there. Went to Warren County High School, graduated, then went to college at UNC Charlotte. Go Niners. There I studied organizational communication, and I minored in women and gender studies. And there, I really learned, who I was and what I was passionate about, or thought that I knew who I was and what I was passionate about. But really had some great experiences there to kind of shape me as an adult. And so from UNC Charlotte, I went to grad school at Michigan State, go Green. And there I studied higher education, student affairs administration. So in undergrad, I was very actively involved in different organizations on campus. Your typical, student leader. And so really found a passion for working with college students and helping particularly Black college students to be successful in school. And so in school and really out of school. So I love mentoring, working with college students. That's really the group that I love the most. So after graduate school at Michigan State, I moved to Baltimore, spent a little bit of time there working with college students. Moved back home to North Carolina, spent some time there doing the same type of work. In the midst of all of this, I met this very handsome young man, Braxton Henderson. And so he was here in Pittsburgh. I ended up transitioning to Pittsburgh a couple of years ago and have since gotten married, and we have a 1-year-old son. But my work is still very much grounded in service to the community and service to students. And so that's kind of how I got here.
That's awesome.
So, yeah.
Well, good stuff. Well, take us, a little bit, through your story of what are some of the reasons that inspired you to, get into wanting to serve the youth and getting into being with the community, and what were some of those things that made you want to go in that direction as far as your inspiration, and maybe even some people that influenced you?
Yeah. So I always give credit to God for just giving me the vision and the passion to do the type of work that I do, and then giving me the parents that I have. So my parents, my dad is a pastor. People always hear me say this. My dad is a pastor. My mom is a teacher. And so you have community engagement and education right there together. And so I was really groomed from birth. I grew up as a PK. And so really groomed from birth on being actively engaged in communities, helping people who need support, and really having a strong educational foundation. And so my mom is a retired school teacher. I was a teacher too. So I was the student in her class after school writing on the chalkboard. I wanted to be a teacher at first when I was younger.
Okay. Taking up after mom?
I did.
Okay.
And then I started working with middle school kids and elementary kids through some programs that we had at our church, and I quickly learned that was not my age group.
Okay.
And that's good to know. Know your strengths and know your weaknesses.
Right.
But they really inspired me to really just pour yourself out for other people. And like I said, to have that strong educational foundation. So in in high school, they kept me engaged in different things. I was like your class president,
Oh,
and
okay.
like a student athlete.
A lot of leadership roles.
Exactly. And then in college, those things kind of follow me there too. So again, being very, very active, and then kind of making it easy to transition to a career in higher education. I didn't know that career existed until, I got to college. It really wasn't until my senior year where I was trying to figure out, like next steps. And some of my mentors were like, you should really consider, going to school for higher education or student affairs, because this is what you're already naturally doing, and there's a profession for it, there's literature behind it, and things that you can learn to, have a greater impact. And so went that route. And even though I'm not working technically in higher education now, like I said earlier, my work is still very much focused on community engagement and higher ed, and supporting students of color, students in general, really, to pursue higher education. And not just to pursue it, but to have the resources to successfully complete it. So.
Absolutely. Any like siblings or anything like that growing up?
Yes. Sorry, guys.
gotta promote the family a
They're
little.
gonna be like, really, Chalis? So I have two older sisters.
Okay.
My oldest sister, Chandra, she's a principal in Memphis. So again, really this strong educational foundation in our family. And then my middle sister, she is studying film and photography right now. So she's our family photographer, family videographer. So yes, family of creatives and entrepreneurs and just great women that I can look up to. My sisters are definitely my best friends outside of my husband, so they're gonna really be mad that I forgot to mention them.
I remember. I got
Right.
y'all. I got y'all covered.
Right. But yeah, I mean, we compare ourselves to the Joseph sisters from Soul Food.
Okay.
I mean, like texting all day long. If anything happens, we all know about it immediately. Those are my girls. So
okay.
Yeah.
So before you actually even started your business, Philanthropy LLC, what what was your full-time job before you got started in your business?
Sure. So moved here to Pittsburgh, and I most recently was working at the University of Pittsburgh. I worked there in the School of Social Work. I served as the Director of University Resources for the Pitt Assisted Communities and Schools program, and I love that program. What we did was really facilitate resources from the university, this 800-pound gorilla full of resources, to the Homewood community. And so, Homewood, I call it a community full of opportunity, and so connected Pitt students, financial resources, school supplies, different things like that, research opportunities to Homewood. And so it was really nice to, one, learn about all that the university had to offer to that community, and then be kind of a change agent and get those things to that community. And so still now I'm very much connected to Homewood. I love that community and love working with the schools there. So yeah, that was my role before philanthropy. Actually, philanthropy was birthed while I was at Pitt too. Okay.
Yeah. So take us through that, that conceptual period when this idea was starting to come into fruition.
Yeah, so in 2011, actually, even before I came to Pittsburgh, I started a scholarship foundation. So while I was in graduate school, paying my student loans, really, really frustrated, and didn't have a lot of extra income, and really didn't want other students from my high school to have that same experience that I did. As I mentioned, I'm the student leader, I'm a student of color, I went to a PWI, I'm thinking, man, I should have scholarships out the
out the wazoo.
Right, exactly. Wasn't quite so. And so that made me upset, and so I was like, we've got to do something different here. And so I started a scholarship foundation. Like I said, when I was in grad school, very little income. For a whole year, I saved money to give back to another student. And the first scholarship was only $250. So
it's more than nothing.
Better than anything, right? Better than nothing. So started a scholarship foundation, and over the years, we've been able to award over $13,000 in scholarships.
Nice.
Really through grassroots fundraising, really people from all over the nation who donate, never even heard of Warren County, but feel compelled to give back. And to them, I'm always grateful. I always say it's a community of donors. It's not just myself giving, but it's truly a community who makes it possible. So I started a scholarship foundation, and a lot of people were like, how did you do that? I want to do something similar. I think it's a great idea. So I was like, okay, well, this could be a potential opportunity to help other people start scholarship foundations. So Philanthropy LLC was birthed. We started out very just narrowly focused on helping other people start scholarship foundations, so offering scholarship consulting. That's a very small niche, right? Of people who, one, are thinking that way about giving. So one saying, I want to start a scholarship foundation, I want to give back. And then two, people who are actually willing to commit to, you know, saving money, sacrificing money to give back to other people. So I launched that officially in June, but kind of publicly made this big announcement in August. And we got a lot of great feedback from it, really, really great response. And so several different conversations, again, with mentors and just with people about what we're doing. And this idea of, oh, you're like the new face of philanthropy. Like, you know, typically we think about older, rich, white people being philanthropists, but you're a philanthropist, Chalis. And I was like, yeah, I am, you know. Like, I had to go home and study, you know, what philanthropy really meant. And truly is the love of mankind. And so, yeah, kind of launching philanthropy, the scholarship consulting, and then growing it into this whole social movement about redefining philanthropy and what philanthropy looks like, what philanthropy means, what it truly is. So that was kind of the process, and now we do a little bit of everything. Well, not everything, but we do a lot. So we still do the scholarship consulting, helping people to establish funds. I'm happy to announce that we've started 3 additional scholarship funds from our launch. Yes, and I think that's a great win. We have our Faces of Philanthropy, you know, series where we talk similar to this one-on-one with people who are doing great work in their communities, people who identify as philanthropists. And then we have our campaign, which is really the heart of our work. Again, encouraging people that philanthropy is not just about money or status, but is really how you show your love for other people. So the art of having a heart for other people.
And I love the fact that you're working towards redefining that what philanthropy is and what people think it is in their minds. So, like, to your point, they think of, you know, old rich white men and you know, and having this status of just money and everything like that. But in actuality, it's more than that. It has a lot to do with your heart and how you act and conduct yourself, and with your characteristics and how you just have a giving heart for and have a heart for other people. And I just really love I really love the idea. I really love that you have this campaign going on and you're really pushing that message out there. Especially to young people of color, because sometimes, like you said, you know, they think of white rich men, but it's like you can be a philanthropist too. So I love the message that, you know, you're working to put out there, and just seeing it, you know, continue to develop is definitely going to be great to see. So whenever you started to even, you know, start this, what would you say is like some of the initial challenges that you face even getting this up off the ground? Because a lot of people want to start a lot of different things. Maybe they want to start a scholarship fund, or maybe they want to start a business or what have you. What were some of the initial challenges you would say you faced in the beginning, and what did you do to overcome those?
I think one of the biggest challenges that I'm probably still facing is understanding my value and the value that I bring to other people, and just really the purpose behind the business. So I call it a social venture, a social enterprise. And so really understanding, you know, how do I offer my services for something that is philanthropic in nature. So as a business, you know, you expect to get paid for your services, but also I want it to be accessible, and so to really allow people to give back. So I don't want to be another hindrance or hurdle for people to cross before they can give back. So really understanding, one, the value that I'm able to bring to people, bring to their lives as philanthropists. And so I remember very vividly having these tough conversations with one of my mentors, and he was like, you're not a business, like, you're a charity right now. You're paying people to be philanthropists. And like, that hurt. Like,
that was probably a nice little kick in the butt though.
Whoa. Oh yeah, I shed some tears. I'm like, okay. Like, when he broke me, he was like, you're paying people to be your customer. And that was like, okay, I got to do something different here. And so, again, not losing who I am, with being this, again, nice person, warm-hearted, wanting to see everybody succeed and take advantage of the services and the opportunities, but also understanding, part of being a businesswoman. And so I'm really kind of growing into that identity as a businesswoman. And so that, definitely one of the biggest challenges, understanding my worth, the value that I bring to other people, the value that Philanthropy LLC brings to other people. And when you think about it, it's a very small investment, but you get started now, you're a philanthropist for the rest of your life. So I'm very confident in saying I started with $250, awarding a $250 scholarship. Last year, we awarded 2 $5,000 scholarships. And so I'm 29 right now. Yeah. So when I'm 69 and our scholarships are growing, our impact is growing, we'll be able to tell this story no, you launched your legacy while you were alive. And now, instead of waiting until you're dead or till you're that old, more wealthy person. So,
so what would you say you did to...
Let me stop you in between. This would be an okay place to cut. I'm going to grab
a new battery?
Battery out of here.
So we're grabbing batteries right now just in case we do keep this because stuff happens on the set. Right. Which camera went out?
This one.
Grab this whole bag?
Okay.
Yeah, you can just, just kind of hand it to me. That works.
I was going to say, you could probably walk on if you wanted to.
Yeah, I can.
Give you the cameras.
So, let me have the bag because the batteries are in the bag.
There we go.
Thanks.
Is it okay so far?
It's good. It's all good so far.
All right.
Nothing wrong with anything you're doing.
He says.
No, you just keep that going. Actually, you can stop it and start it.
I was wondering why you kept looking over there. I was like, am I getting off topic?
No.
Am I answering the question?
No. Yeah, because he had, this is the first time I seen him have that look on his face. I was like, what's going on back there?
Oh, I got you.
Yeah, because it was, because normally I have a battery close to me and I can just switch it and it's seamless. And you guys don't really notice that I have to do it, but this time I forgot the bag was over there and I was like, I'm not going to be able to get this battery.
I was going to say, you can just grab it if you need to.
Yeah, well, I was going to try and climb up over, I was like, this is not going to work.
Right.
It's not going to
That's what I was looking at, seeing him trying to think of what he's doing to try to get that battery.
I thought you were giving signs
No.
Get her out of here.
Right now.
I was like, there's really no way.
This is fun.
This is the first time this has happened.
I thought about crawling over here underneath the camera, but I was like, she's going to be really weirded out if I did that.
You're like, what is this guy doing?
Right.
I would have just been like, Rob is trying to get a battery. But
real creepy. We're just gonna cut.
That's probably bad.
I'm actually still thinking a way to try to keep this. I want to try to keep this somehow because this is the type of stuff that happens. This is real stories, real struggle, real hustle. So, if you want to start a podcast or a video podcast, these are the things that happen, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure, and this is a little bit my fault too because I got to make sure the batteries are charged. So, we good?
Yeah, we're
all right.
good.
To be honest with you, we may keep that. So, because this is real. This is super real. Super real. So yeah, what were we talking about?
Fixing my eyebrows.
But so yeah, just what were we talking about? The challenge. Okay,
yes.
And okay, so we can get back to that. Yeah, we're definitely keeping all that in there. So how did you overcome all that? Trying to get back on track. Would you say you overcame all of that? With going through those challenges because a lot of people would have called it quits.
Yeah, definitely. So one, seeking feedback. Again, still. So I guess the benefit of having great mentors is having people who are willing to be honest with you, right? So I respect that particular person so much because he was able to say you're paying your people to do this for you. They're not paying you. You're in the negative.
Right.
And so, one, having a strong mentor to kind of give you that honest feedback, and then not being able to kind of go back to that person. So, okay, you hit me hard with that. Now, what are some steps that I can do, or what advice do you have to kind of get me over that?
Right.
So, seeking really good feedback from a variety of people, people with different perspectives and different feedback, different points of view to offer their support as well. Praying, okay, Lord, I know you gave me this vision. I know you gave this business to me. I wouldn't be doing this otherwise.
Right.
How do I make this work? And I had one of those very real conversations with God, and he was like, well, how did you do it? You know, clear as day. And so how did I start my scholarship fund? Mm-hmm. And so listening to that, again, with the feedback, coupling it with the feedback and just kind of making necessary changes, but again, staying true to who I am, not only as a businesswoman, but as, you know, a philanthropist and as a person who really has a heart for other people. Mm-hmm. Like, I just want to see people be successful and take advantage of the services that we have to offer. Right. And like I said, I don't want to be a hurdle to, you know, giving back. So.
Right. So talk about a little bit about the mentorship that you've been getting. I mean, because that's one of the big things in starting anything, having somebody that has been in life where you want to be, or at least has the wisdom and the knowledge to kind of guide you and direct you to the, you know, get through that minefield. How are you able to connect with some of the people that have mentored you or some of the people that influenced you to kind of guide you on your path right now?
Wow. So I've had some great mentors from, high school on, but my really influential mentors have been Dr. Clyde Wilson, hey Clyde, and his wife Crystal, yes, at UNC Charlotte, at Michigan State, Mr. Fred and Dr. June, here, Dr. Wallace is one of my great mentors. Really just people who, again, like you said, like they are either where you are or they want to see you get there or they can see something in you. And so in undergrad, I didn't know, I just didn't know a lot about different things. I didn't know about the influence of being involved in campus organizations, what they could have, where they could take you, but being connected to people who saw the potential in me and who still see potential in me, who are willing to invest their time, their energy, their harsh words, their love, the meals when you need them. And one, just being, so your question was how do you connect with these people, being open to connecting with them and really seeking that out. So I'm a very familial person, so I love being around family oriented, love being around my family and appreciate the guidance of our elders. So I intentionally seek to be in communities where there are strong elders or strong people who can offer that support, and when I see them, I'm putting myself out there, so I want to connect with you. Can we meet? Can we have lunch or something? And this is what I'm thinking. What do you think about this? And what support or what advice do you have? And not just what support, but, how can I help you as well? So how can I learn from you or help the work that you're doing to kind of learn skills, learn things that I can then take to my own projects as well. So.
Right. Mentorship is definitely highly important. I highly recommend. You can even think of somebody like a Bill Gates. You would think he knows it all. He has it all down packed. He has it figured out. But his mentor is Warren Buffett. So even at that status, even people like that still need a mentor. Yeah. And mentorship is highly important. I always recommend people try to find a mentor either in their area or find somebody that they really like to read up on. And they may not be a mentor in the physical sense, but you can read all the material. Maybe they have stuff online. Maybe they have courses that you could go to. I know I utilize those a lot as far as books that I read, and some people that I associate with that I feel like is kind of on the same mindset, and we have a lot of things in common where we can kind of bounce ideas off each other and kind of grow in the same way. It's just extremely important to have, because trying to do it on your own is extremely difficult to do.
Yeah, and I feel like it's a waste of energy trying to do things on your own, because now there is just free information available all the time. So we're attached to our cell phones, but on our phones, you've got podcasts, you've got blogs, you've got free books. There is just a wealth of information available that you can take advantage of, and so why not? Yeah.
And also on top of that, the resources are out there. It's almost like we have all the tools, but we also have people that are experienced on knowing how to use those tools. Yes. So being able to connect those two together, yes, we have the tools, we have the resources, but if you have the tools and don't know how to use them, you're still lost. Right. So, having somebody that knows how to do it, that is experienced, that can kind of, guide you, I feel like is always highly beneficial. So for you to be able to have those things in your life has definitely been a blessing. I know I've been able able to have the same thing with the success that I've had as well, and and all the collaborations we've been able to have. The success of the show is not solely just based off what I've been able to do. Right. It's definitely been a huge collective effort, and it's probably one of the greatest experiences that I've had up until this point. Yeah. So take us a little bit to what's the big thing that you are looking to see Philanthropy LLC to be like? What's the big mission? What's the big goal that you would love to see happen?
Yeah, so our vision is to really change the face of philanthropy, and our mission is to inspire and empower individual philanthropy, and so our goal is to do just that. So one, when you think about philanthropy, you don't initially just imagine old, rich white people. You think about diverse people. So young, old, black, Asian, white, whatever. You think about people in general. Right. And then when you think about philanthropy, it's not necessarily just associated with money like it is now. Right. So I hate seeing those top 50 philanthropists and they're all these like billionaires. Right. There are no people of color. There might be one Asian woman and that's it. Right. And that, is not what philanthropy is. So one big goal is just to debunk the way that people think about philanthropy, to inspire and empower individual philanthropy. So one, inspire, to show people that, yes, you can be a philanthropist. You are a philanthropist. Look at what you do every day. People are already doing stuff, but kind of owning that identity. And I think that there's a certain kind of power in being able to say, I'm a philanthropist. I have a heart for other people. And proudly saying that and then actually doing it on a daily basis. And then empowering, so not just being inspirational and saying, hey, you can go do it, but actually helping people, giving them the tools to be successful philanthropists. So if you want to start a scholarship, using us as a way to give back, to launch your legacy, and providing very hands-on, very practical resources, things that I've learned over the past 5 years that like, oh my gosh, things could have been so much easier had I known this. That's really what we want to do, and that's all that we are. So everything that we do relates back to that, really just changing the face, being intentional on inspiring people, but also equipping them with the resources to do good work.
Now, do you do this full time?
So this is like, yes.
I always like to ask because it's an interesting thing, because a lot of people like us, we work part-time jobs. This isn't all we do. Yeah. But we're trying to get to the point where this is what we do full-time. So I always ask that question because if you are doing your business full-time, it's like, how did you get to that point? We definitely want to know. Yeah. And if not, no big deal. You're still balancing it. And how are you balancing it? So
yeah, I just had this conversation on this past Sunday, actually. So I do this full-time, but on a part-time status. Okay. So I'm a full-time mom. Okay. So by day, I'm mommy mode all the time. Silas is my chief baby officer, so he's my top priority. And I always tell people I'm a wife first, I'm a mother first, second, and then I'm a businesswoman, philanthropist, whatever. Everything else comes after those two things. So yes and no. How did I get to this point? So I was at Pitt. I got pregnant, had the baby, and went back to Pitt after my maternity leave. Went back part-time. And really just learned, like, I love being a mother, and I don't necessarily love being away from him if I don't necessarily have to be. And if I'm not doing something that I'm, like, 150% like into. Like, I love this philanthropy stuff. I could do it at any hour of the night. Other stuff, I could do between decent hours. So that's kind of how I gauge like my interest in things. But I ended up transitioning from Pitt and staying at home with the baby. So full-time mom, mompreneur.
Okay. Okay. So how do you balance those two things? For someone, take us, through the female perspective of trying to balance both of these. How is it going for you in your perspective?
Yeah. It's a lot. So that's probably another challenge as well. Being able to dedicate as much time that needs or that could be dedicated to it, to the project. So like I said, priorities are wife, husband, baby, child, during the day, I try not to be like on my phone a lot in front of him, so I could likely miss out on a lot of opportunities or like even meetings, things like that. You got to get a babysitter or bring the baby along, and that presents challenges in itself as well. So a lot of my work is done after bedtime, you know. A lot of meetings are on the phone, and so I'm sure that has an influence on some outcomes, you know, not being able to be at every event or have meetings, you know, in person all of the time. Evening meetings are preferred for me, you know, once my husband is back home from work. And his schedule is like crazy too because he's a resident. So, so there are, you know, just things that you kind of have to deal with and have to learn, but also not losing, you know, your passions as well. And so I applaud people who are full-time moms and that's all they do because it's a full-time job. And I don't even like the term like full-time mom. I think if you work, you're a full-time mom too, but stay-at-home moms. And so, so yeah, just kind of, I've learned to like be flexible, and I tell people up front, like, I have a 1-year-old son. You might hear him in the background. He might be at this event with me. He was at a recent event, and I'm like, you know, he's just here because it is what it is. Like, he's the top priority. So, yeah, I think that women business owners, we're like thebomb.com. We do a lot. You know, like, we do a lot. And so we wear our cape all the time. I have it on right now. You just can't see it, but.
Absolutely. We got a lot of things going on in this episode.
This is so fun.
I know, right? This is absolutely crazy that everything in this episode is just happening. All right, we're just going to quit that. This is wow. First time ever. First time ever for everything, I guess. So yeah, what I was actually going to ask before that pop-up came up, what is the best experience you would say you've gotten out of these past 5 years of doing your philanthropy and holding your foundation and doing the scholarship thing? What was probably the best experience you got out of the things that you're doing?
So 2 things. One, every time we award a scholarship, I try my very best to be there to present it. I think I've missed 1 time. And so that is like, makes it worth it. So when you can go and award the scholarship, whether it's $250 or $5,000 or $1,000, like seeing the excitement on the students' faces and their parents' faces just make my heart like overflow. And they remind me that reminds me every time, like, why you do it, you know, why you hustle for fundraising or why you know, stay on them about getting their application materials in, whatever. Seeing the impact that you have on the student's life. And one student in particular wrote me, she said that we were the first scholarship that she received, and she's a first-generation student, so receiving her first scholarship made going to college a reality for her because it was like, oh, somebody actually believes in me. And the second thing is, well, before I go on, so my scholarship in particular awards or supports students who are actively involved in their local community, their school community, and their church community. And so her story meant a lot to me because like growing up in church, a lot of times it's not very popular to be like the church kid, you know. Church is now becoming a little bit more popular, a little bit more welcoming, but people typically like shy away from that identity. And so I was very intentional in starting a scholarship that reflected who I am and my values. And so hearing from her, like, you know, your scholarship really spoke to me as an individual. I was able to kind of write about and display and be proud of that part of my identity, really made an impact on me. And so that's always the most rewarding part for me is meeting the students, learning about them. And then I tell them, like, you're getting this money. The scholarship will be gone in the semester. But what you're really getting is like a mentor from me. So I harass them, like, how are you doing? You know, what are you involved in? I keep up with them. And so that's always very rewarding. The second thing with the business piece is hearing the stories of people who want to start scholarships. And so I'm very particular about the people that I work with in anything that I do. And so, you know, just because you say I want to start a scholarship, you might not start one through us.
Right.
I want to know what your scholarship philosophy is. So why do you want to start a scholarship? Who do you want to serve in your scholarship foundation? And through these conversations with people, you learn about their heart, you learn more about who they are, and 3 out of 3, all of them start scholarships for students who look like them or who reflect them. So, you know, someone one of my favorite stories is she started a scholarship. She had a child in college. Hey, Kristen. She had a child in college, and now she has a scholarship foundation to support students who are student mothers. So again, being that resource for this next generation of people who look like you, who identify the same way as you do. And that's super rewarding to me. I love hearing the stories. I love learning about why people want to give back and why you want to fundraise for, on the behalf of somebody else. It's not something that we take lightly or something that anybody should take lightly. It's more than a dollar amount, but it's really investing in the student wholeheartedly. So that's really, I think, how we're different from any other foundation who awards money, particularly, foundations that are, larger or white heavy.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, because you can just write a check and be very disconnected from the community. But I think that it says a lot when you are intentional on, who you want to serve and how you serve them, and you're dedicating funds to it.
So for anybody that wants to be a philanthropist and, get into business and start up something, through your experience that you've had, what would you say is maybe some of the best advice you would give to someone like that?
Advice from my perspective? My advice, I would say, know who you are, what you want to do, and why you want to do it. And I'm thinking about a particular book that we read. It's called The Shape Book. And so knowing what your gifts are, knowing what makes your heart full, what makes you excited, knowing what your abilities are and your passions, and how have your previous experiences shaped who you are. That was probably one of the most influential books or studies that I did, because it really helped me to kind of identify all of those things and then be able to communicate about it to make it into an effective business or into a business model. And so I think that whatever we do, whatever business you do, whatever nonprofit you do, whatever projects you have, it should totally reflect who you are, because that's the only way that it'll be successful, right? Like if you're not invested into it, or if you don't identify with it personally, you're probably not going to make it, right? Because you're going to get burnt out, or you're going to get bored with it, or you're going to lose focus, going to lose interest in it. So really take time to understand who you are, what makes your heart happy, what are you good at, and then how can you create that into an organization or to a business.
One of the common threads that I've found in doing this show and asking that question to multiple people now, one of the common threads is having it be authentic to who you are.
Yeah.
And I would say, that's definitely true. I mean, because if it's not who you are, if it's not something that you identify with, or it's not your strength or not your passion, it's something that you're not going to be able to see whenever you go through any challenge times or any of the struggles or anything like that, because you'll quickly learn and find out you're going to go through some roadblocks. Yeah. You're going to go through some challenges. Yep. And if it's not something that you love, if you don't love the process, you're not going to make it.
Right.
And I can definitely see that in what you do and how you've been able to identify what your passion is and be able to connect it. And just in hearing your story from, your parents, one being a preacher and a teacher, and how that connects to how it's developed how you are in your mindset, and having your passion for education and starting the scholarship, it all makes sense,
right?
In the end, and you're doing it, so you're doing what you're passionate about. Yep. So I think that's great, and when people can find that place where they can connect with whatever it is they're passionate about, they can get through anything. Yep. So I feel like that's great. Just knowing who you are. And then just getting close to wrapping up, what would you say is the legacy that you're looking to lay down? And then also, if there's something that we maybe didn't touch on that you want to talk about, that you really want to, maybe promote, or a message that you'd like to share, what would that be that you would want to talk about? Because right now the platform is all yours. The floor is yours.
How much time do I have? No, I'm just kidding.
Like 1 minute. No, I'm joking.
So the first part was, what legacy do I want to leave? And I think that I'm in my legacy right now, right? I already have a child, so my child is learning from me, and he's seeing the work ethic that my husband and I have, and just what our passions are and what drives us, what we're really into. And so that's the legacy that I want to leave, that I want to have right now, is being a person, when I walk into a door, people know what I'm about. They know the type of person that I am. They know the value, again, that I can bring to them or to a community. I really think of myself as not only a change agent, because I think that word is something that's kind of overused. Like, we all are change agents, but really being a person who can bring value or significant value to a community. And that's what I hope to do. So as I think about previous jobs, or look at old pictures on Time Hop or something, I'm like, like, this is a legacy that I left at this school or on this organization. And that's my goal, is to really have a significant impact, and not for me, like, I have to say this because it's on the tip of my tongue, like, not for my glory, but for God's glory, so that he will definitely get the honor out of whatever that we do. Things that I want to promote or leave with the audience. One, just, you can do it. Like, you can be a philanthropist. That's the number one excuse that I hear from people. It's like, oh, I'll do it when I finish paying off my student loans. Who knows when that'll be? Like,
right, yeah.
I'll do it when I get a different job. Like, we're doing pretty well. I mean, like, our community of young professionals, we're really doing well for ourselves. And I think that sometimes we can be a little selfish. So, don't be selfish. Give back. Sacrifice is so, so, so worth it. And it might not be in a scholarship. I get that. It could be, serving regularly, having a mentee, giving to whatever fund or whatever nonprofit, whoever, but finding something that you can really invest in and leave your mark as well. Check out Faces of Philanthropy, Redefine Philanthropy campaign. Visit our website, redefinephilanthropy.org. We have a number of things on there. So if you want to start a scholarship, definitely contact us. It's a great, great, great way to give back. And this is free. I always tell people, start manageable. Like, you don't have to start big. You don't have to give out a $10,000 scholarship. But really, start with what you can manage and let it grow over time. Our Redefine Philanthropy campaign, you can go online. You can share your story. So I know that you're doing great work. I know that we know a lot of people who are doing great work who need to be highlighted as well, or their work needs to be highlighted. Go to our website, share your story with us. We have cute T-shirts that you can purchase as well. And everything that we do supports our scholarship foundation, supports other nonprofits as well. So that's me, and that's the philanthropy campaign.
Awesome. One of the biggest things that you hit on that I would say is just having a heart to give to others. And one of the quotes that I live by a lot is by Zig Ziglar, and he says, and I've said this multiple times on the show because I highly believe in it, is if you help enough other people get what they want, you'll get everything that you want.
Yep.
So if you are a type of person that you're able to put other people first, and just be able to add value to them, have a caring heart, and just being able to look at someone and be able to see greater things in them and be able to help them accomplish those things. And not even necessarily expect anything in return, but just in that natural giving to other people, the people that you give to, if they also have a good heart, they're naturally, automatically are going to want to help you too.
Right.
And I just think that's one of the biggest things also people struggle with too, just feeling like they can't necessarily give to someone. But I just feel like just give to people that you feel like you're able to have a connection with, and also people that are gonna move forward and actually do positive things. And I just feel like the growth of that is going to be tremendous with anything that you do when you're just giving other people.
Yeah, I mean, what you said was key. So it's about your heart. So again, you can have a ton of money, give, but if you're not connected to it, or if your heart's not in the right place, then what good have you done? And I think that people can feel that, and they can sense that if you're coming to serve and you have a nasty attitude, or you're like, I'm just here because it's a requirement.
Right.
Are you really making a difference there?
Right.
Or long-term difference? And I think that's something that we should all consider too, like, what impact or what influence am I making on this one person or on this community, on this space that I'm currently in? Like, am I having an influence, a positive influence? And then if you're not, then, thinking about how you can or what should you be doing differently to have that influence. And that's something that if I'm ever in a space or in a job situation or something where I'm like, I'm not at my best right now, like, I'm not giving off a great vibe, then I need to do something different. And I've had to have those tough conversations, like with myself, with, my husband, like, this is not working out. Can I do something different? And been able to, maneuver into different situations where where my heart can be happy, where I can really fully feel like I'm flourishing and doing really great work. And so I think that's important for people to understand and know too, like, it's not always as pretty as we make it sound. Like, my story sounds beautiful right now, especially as I told, from birth on, but in those different places, there have always been, like, challenging situations or transitions that I had to make, and, just being willing to say, like, it's not worth it or I'm worth it to do it. So,
And then also another thing that I probably want to promote that you're also doing, the Faces of Philanthropy thing that you're doing, the series that you're coming out with, that you're doing. I believe you said you're doing that on a monthly basis.
Yes.
That's what I'm excited about. I can't wait to see those roll out more.
Yes.
I love the fact that you're doing that and, promoting other people and putting them on your platform. And that goes back to, adding value to other people and giving them a place to be able to share their work, share who they are, and be able to connect with a whole new audience. So I love that. I love that we're doing similar things.
Yes.
And so real quick before we even get to wrapping up, so how often is that looking to come out? What's the goal for that? And how can people actually see that?
Yes. So Faces of Philanthropy, it is a mini-series. It's hosted on YouTube. And the goal, again, is to have these casual yet fun and intellectual conversations with philanthropists, with young people who identify as philanthropists. And the goal is, again, to debunk the stigmas and the stereotypes of what philanthropy is. So I'm like, if this is how we associate, or this is what we associate philanthropy with, I'm going to bring in a prototype of what philanthropy is, so we can see it physically here. We can talk to them and learn about what their art of philanthropy is. So those are on YouTube. They're also on our website. You can go to our website, click the YouTube icon, and they'll take you right there. The series are also hosted on our website, so you can just look at them there. If people want to be on it, because we're always looking for great people who are doing work, whenever I have a conversation, I tell people, I don't know everybody. I don't want to know everybody. But if you know somebody who should be on the show, contact me and let me know. But a great way to do that is to share your story on our website. And I'll read the stories. And I'm like, oh, this is somebody that we probably want to interview for the Faces of Philanthropy series. So those are, like you said, once a month right now. And, they're awesome. On YouTube.
Awesome. Like I said, I can't wait for those to roll out. And then last question, just to wrap up. We are doing a 24-hour challenge here. So, for anybody that may have felt inspired or motivated by something that you said or connected with your story, what's a challenge that you would propose to actually get them into the action mode, and they have 24 hours to actually accomplish that? So it can be as simple as writing a goal down, or maybe going to a networking event. So anywhere between those, what's a challenge that you would propose for people to do?
In the next 24 hours, I want you to go home and look at your budget. So look at your account, look at your monthly budget, and see what you're spending, what you're spending it on, and how you could potentially be giving something to either a nonprofit, to your own scholarship organization, to a cause that matters to you. So go home, look at what you're spending, how many times you're eating out, how much coffee you're drinking. The average textbook, I think, is like $85. So could you sacrifice $85 a month or $85 a year? I mean, what could you sacrifice out of your account to help another student or to help somebody else? Think about that, write it down, email me, and then tell me that you're ready to start a fund, and we'll help you with the next steps there.
That's awesome. Well, I hope somebody accepts that challenge and sends you that email, and definitely let us know how that goes. Because even if just one person does that, like, that would be hugely impactful.
Yes.
And then that also is a great indicator for all of us to let us know that we impacted somebody and somebody's out there watching. So that's a great feeling. So I definitely appreciate you for being on the show. We definitely got to do this again in the future and because I feel like you're definitely going to be doing a lot of big things, and I definitely want to be able to recap on all the things that you've been able to accomplish, from this point and then to the future. So
I'm going to bring that person with me the next time.
Okay. Yeah. Oh yeah, that'll be awesome.
Person who starts a fund from our challenge.
That would be awesome. That would be awesome. So that'll definitely be good. So now that we know what Chalis does with her 24 hours, I definitely want to know what you do with your 24 hours. Definitely accept that challenge, and if you do accept that challenge, definitely comment down below. Make sure you subscribe, turn on notifications, and we will see you on the next episode.